Previously on Welcome Home Huntsville.
Hey Rob, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me over. We've met with Lori, who bought a foreclosed house. And you know, with a foreclosure comes low price, but there's also a lot of work that needs to be done. Wow, this is something else. I mean, there's just a lot of mold in here. We're gonna take you through a lot of those aspects today of what we can do to make this house more livable and ready for Lori and her family to move into. In your experience, when do you start to see water heaters deteriorate where they need to be replaced?
Speaking in terms of air conditioning, bigger is not better.
Okay.
Properly sized is better.
You can see the mold on the walls behind me, and this is what happens with improper drainage and also an improperly sized heating and cooling unit. Value, tradition, stability. VTS Homes. We know that home buyers seek value and superior craftsmanship to provide a long-term, stable investment for their families now and for their future. As a recipient of the Guild Master with Highest Distinction Award, we are proud to be the area's only builder with a 100% satisfaction rating. To learn more, visit vtshomes.com. VTS Homes, where value meets tradition and stability.
Vinyl, wood, clad, composite. I'm Frank Pate with Gobble Fight Lumber Company. At Gobble Fight, we replace windows and doors. We don't just have your basic white window.
I cannot tell you how happy we were to be able to see outside our home and look into our backyard. I would highly recommend Gobble Fight because they came out and were able to give me what I was looking for. Everybody was easy to work with, and they're local.
At Gobble Fight, we're celebrating 80 years in the Tennessee Valley. Call us today. We do it right the first time.
At All Star Plumbers, we take pride in providing you with the best quality work, providing state-of-the-art service with the best equipment available to make sure that work is performed correctly the first time, every time. Find out why All Star Plumbers is recognized by the construction industry as being one of the most highly respected plumbing companies in the area. All Star Plumbers, professional people doing a professional job. To set up your appointment, call 256-232-1234.
It's said that all we know of tomorrow is that Providence will rise before the sun, with hundreds of new homes, new restaurants, more entertainment, record sales, new hotels, more offices, and an unmatched quality of life. We want you to know that as we celebrate our 10th anniversary, our brightest days are still ahead. Visit the Village of Providence and experience the magic and lifestyle of one of America's premier traditional neighborhoods.
See more, get more. All South now has an even bigger selection of the appliances you love. And right now, take advantage of the exclusive Welcome Home Huntsville special. Just use the promo code HOME1 when you visit All South and save even more. Plus, find a better price, bring it to All South, and we'll make you smile. Now across from Park Supply on Commercial Drive off Jordan Lane. Log on to myallsouth.com.
You're way up in the air while I've spent my whole life just a couple inches off the floor. That's why I'm a Kemp's flooring expert. I sell more carpet than anyone else in North Alabama. Like our HGTV home flooring by Shaw, with fresh colors, textures, and styles to brighten your home. No matter what you need on your floor, Kemp's selection and installation is right the first time. Hey, Carpet Annie's got a nose for the best flooring.
Cellpack Services has been a trusted installer in this community for many years. Cellpack can help you save on your heating and cooling energy costs by adding insulation, specializing in cellulose insulation, which helps create a quieter, more comfortable, and more energy-efficient home. Call today for a free estimate. Mention this ad for a $100 off coupon to be used on your next insulation project. Cellpack Services. We're your neighborhood professionals, providing insulation to homes across northern Alabama.
So I'm standing here with Ben from All Star Plumbers. Ben, tell me about what you guys are going to be doing on this project.
Well, today we're going to be removing two water heaters. We got a gas one here, and we have an electric one in the basement.
Okay.
They're roughly about 18 years old. If you look right here, so we got 11 of 96 here, which is November of 1996, which is when this thing was manufactured.
Okay.
While they're remodeling, they wanted to go ahead and replace these heaters. To kind of get a fresh start, one less thing they had to worry about when they moved in.
So tell me about, in your experience, when do you start to see water heaters deteriorate where they need to be replaced? At what age?
They usually last roughly, 10 to 12 years. You get a lot of, sediment stuff start to build up on the elements themselves, and then the bottom of the heater, which starts to fill it up a little bit. You get a little less water from time to time. So generally, that's when we start seeing problems, and generally, you might want to look at starting to replace.
So Ben, I get people who've asked me, and even I personally at my own house have drained the water heater. Does that help prolong the life of the water heater?
It can if you want to, drain it every 6 months or so, but it's almost not worth the hassle because you have to drain the whole water heater, refill it, and then you're paying that expense to reheat that whole tank of water.
Right.
A lot of people have started, especially nowadays, changing to the tankless water systems, which doesn't have water that holds in a tank, so you don't have to worry about that sediment and stuff building up as much. It just, as the water rushes through, it heats the water, so you have continuous water. You don't have to worry about running out of that tank. You do have to maintain those as well, but it's only like once a year, depending on how bad your hard water is.
Correct.
So they're a lot more efficient as far as, they don't heat unless you're actually using them as well. So that's always an alternative too.
So speaking of hard water, what about water softeners? You hear about that a lot up north, in say northern regions. Do we see that down here as well? People putting water softeners in?
You do. I would say probably out of our new construction, we do, I'd probably say at least 1 in every 5 houses we do put them in. And a lot of that's from people up north moving down and are used to it, but also just to, help preserve, their faucets and their stuff for longevity of use. So.
Okay. All right, well that sounds good. And the other thing I think about too with maintenance is time.
Right.
I personally drained my water heater out, I guess once in the last several years, but it takes time. And it takes longer than actually I thought it would. And so to me, time's important too. So I like the idea of the tankless water heater for a lot of reasons. One, you're able to spend less time maintaining it yourself, number one. And number two, you're not paying for water to constantly be heated 24 hours a day and stay at that temperature. With a tankless, it's on demand. So the only time it heats the water is when you use it. There is a higher cost, as we know. There's a higher cost, and typically I would say labor and materials on a new construction, it could be $1,800. On a retrofit, it can go a good bit higher. It could be up to $3,000 to take out a tanked water heater and put in a tankless, especially if there's not a gas line run to it. How is it vented? Does it go on the outside wall? So these are a lot of things that you have to take into account. But I can tell you, my friends at All Star Plumbers, they have the ability to go in and take a look at it, help assess it, and give you your options for what can be done. Okay. Ben, thanks so much for your time. Look forward to seeing this one done.
Not a problem.
Thank you. Even in North Alabama, it can get cold. And when I mean cold, I mean below 20 degrees. And when it does, there's certain things you can do to help protect your home from freezing water lines. One of those things you can do, if you've got a vanity, a sink, on an outside wall, an exterior wall, particularly even a north-facing wall that gets little sun, you can open your vanity door and that'll allow some heat to go in. The other thing you can do, and this is a surefire method, is go ahead and turn on the faucet and let both the hot and cold line dribble a small amount of water. And this is when temperatures are going to be, say, below 15 degrees for several hours. Another thing you can do is leave that bath fan off. That's used to help get humidity out of the bathroom, but when it's so dry inside your home, and I mean below 25% humidity, let that humidity stay in the house. That also is the same case with vent hoods over a cooktop. Let's go take a look at that. With a vent hood over a cooktop, when this vent hood is vented to the exterior, what can happen is that warm air from outside can then form condensation inside that pipe, and I've actually had water dripping down on cooktops. So you want to make sure that that pipe up in your attic is insulated, and then in many cases too, if you are just using, say, boiling water, you can allow some of that moisture to stay inside the home, again, raising the humidity in what is a very dry environment inside the home in the winter. On the exterior of your home, with your hose bibs, you want to make sure that the garden hose is removed from the hose bib so that water doesn't freeze and burst the pipe inside the house. You can also cover this outside hose bib with a foam gasket or wrap it with a rag or insulation to help keep that freezing from occurring on these pipes. We've done a lot of work on the windows. And this one right here had a large hole right on the sill. This is what happens when windows are not properly maintained. Again, we've replaced all this. This now is a PVC sill, PVC brick mold. What is PVC? Well, it's vinyl, so it's not wood, it's not gonna rot. See, one of the great things about window replacements is we can match them so closely that you will not be able to tell the difference. Here was a window that's basically 18 years old, the age of the house, and here's a new window that's just been replaced, and now you'll see the finished product and how closely they resemble each other.
Well, Rob, what we're doing right here, we're going to replace these sashes with a sash kit. Replace the jam liners and the sashes. It's a less expensive way and less labor intensive than replacing the entire unit. As long as your frames and moldings are in good shape, we can just replace the sashes with new jam liners that allow the window to tilt out.
And the good thing is we're not cutting any corners. When you say less expensive, it's only because the jam and the framing is in good shape.
That's right. We're saving those parts and pieces.
Right.
And it's not quite as labor intensive. You don't have to remove all the interior trim when we do it this way.
Okay, now I'm seeing right here you've got your jam liners.
And these are the new jam liners.
Okay.
I'll kind of explain these to you. We use these clips to install these. It's a jam clip. It'll screw onto the jam. There's several of them on each side. And these jams will clip onto this.
Nice.
And
yeah,
it's sealed on the bottom. It has this foam piece to keep water from getting to your jam, which the older model windows like we have here does not have.
Okay.
Water can get into the substrate and actually rot your windows and walls if it goes too long.
Right.
Now these seem to be okay. We'll know more once we take out the old jam liners and sashes.
Yeah, I mean, can anybody just come in and just any average homeowner and tackle a job like this?
Possibly, but you'd have to be fairly skilled to do this.
Right.
It's not the easiest thing in the world. It is easier than the other,
right.
Replacing the entire unit, but
right.
it still takes some skill to do. And we could run into some rot. If you do that, then we're replacing some components of the old window, which takes much more skills.
Exactly, and that's something you don't know until you get into, and then you know, the average homeowner could come in and tear the window out and start moving things, and all of a sudden they've opened up a can of worms, so to speak.
Things falling apart. You've got maybe some rotted framing underneath your window, and that would be you wouldn't want your window out.
Right.
After you had taken all that out, you know, you've got a hole in your house then. So.
All right, so you've got a couple of guys.
Yeah, Dylan and Corey's going to show us how it's done.
Okay. We went down in the basement and we saw the mold on the walls. What was one of the things that you thought of that not everybody else thought of?
You're way up in the air while I've spent my whole life just a couple inches off the floor. That's why I'm a Kemp's flooring expert. I sell more carpet than anyone else in North Alabama. Like our HGTV home flooring by Shaw, with fresh colors, textures, and styles to brighten your home. No matter what you need on your floor, Kemp's selection and installation is right the first time. Hey, Carpet Annie's got a nose for the best flooring.
Value, tradition, stability, VTS Homes. We know that home buyers seek value and superior craftsmanship to provide a long-term, stable investment for their families now and for their future. As a recipient of the Guild Master with Highest Distinction Award, we are proud to be the area's only builder with a 100% satisfaction rating. To learn more, visit vtshomes.com. VTS Homes, where value meets tradition and stability.
It's said that all we know of tomorrow is that Providence will rise before the sun with hundreds of new homes, new restaurants, more entertainment, record sales, new hotels, more offices, and an unmatched quality of life. We want you to know that as we celebrate our 10th anniversary, our brightest days are still ahead. Visit the Village of Providence and experience the magic and lifestyle of one of America's premier traditional neighborhoods.
A new home, choice, experience, and service are key. I'm Dan Fight with Gobble Fight Lumber Company. Gobble Fight is celebrating our 80th year in the Tennessee Valley. We strive every day to give our customers the most choices and the best service.
Whether it's windows, doors, trim, or lumber, I look to Gobble Fight for my home building needs. Based on their experience and their service, they stand behind what they sell.
Call Gobble Fight today. We do it right the first time.
See more, get more. All South now has an even bigger selection of the appliances you love. And right now, take advantage of the exclusive Welcome Home Huntsville special. Just use the promo code HOME1 when you visit All South and save even more. Plus, find a better price, bring it to All South, and we'll make you smile. Now across from Park Supply on Commercial Drive off Jordan Lane. Log on to myallsouth.com.
Experienced Roofing has just what the name says. Experienced roofers who are ready to take care of all your roofing and shingle needs. Specializing in EPDM rubber and metal roofs, Experienced Roofing is fully licensed and insured, repairing and installing roofs in Huntsville, Decatur, and the surrounding areas for over 15 years. For quality craftsmanship and hard-working roofers who know their stuff, choose Experienced Roofing, North Alabama's expert roofers. Call today to set up your appointment. 256-828-8004.
These are the compressor units for the 3 heating and cooling units for this house. And what we're going to be doing is replacing all 3 of these with brand new units. So Dan, tell me what you found here at this house as far as the HVAC systems go.
Okay, well the AC systems were, number one, they were pretty old.
Okay.
So inefficient.
How old?
They were about 15 years old.
Okay.
And so pretty low SEER, pretty poor shape. In fact, most of them were inoperable.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is come in with new systems, much more efficient.
Okay.
Get them replaced so that they're comfortable and healthy.
Now, when we went down in the basement and we saw the mold on the walls, what was one of the things that you thought of right away that not everybody else thought of? There were several heating and cooling contractors that have been out here and that have bid on this job, but you thought of something that nobody else did.
Yeah, that's right. The first thing I thought in the basement application, oftentimes the systems are oversized.
What does that mean?
Well, it's essentially a lot of contractors, they'll use sort of rule of thumbs, use the square footage and come up with a ton size. So what they'll do is they'll use that same formula in a basement, which has a much lower cooling demand. So in fact, what happened here was the basement system was oversized. And so what happens there is the system short cycles. It doesn't do a very good job of moisture removal, and hence we have some mold issues.
So when you say short cycles, what does that mean?
Well, basically the air conditioner is too large for the space, so it doesn't have to run very long. It runs for a short time and just cycles off. Okay. Now, the important thing is, oftentimes I get customers concerned that their units are running a long time, but typically in the summertime, you want your systems to run 70 or 80% of the time. That way, it's not only doing your sensible cooling, which is what your thermostat reads, but also what they call latent cooling. A
lot of people don't realize that. It goes against logic of, okay, isn't it going to cost me more money when that system is running longer? But in a sense, when you look at what kind of problems you can have,
yes,
probably not.
And speaking in terms of air conditioning, bigger is not better.
Okay.
Properly sized is better.
How do we properly size a system? What do you do to make sure that you get it properly sized?
Okay, the Air Conditioning Contractors of America have a software, and it's Right J software. It's a manual J load calculation. And so what we do is we take different parameters. You start with the weather location. So Huntsville is going to be different than Phoenix, Arizona. So that would be your starting point. And then you factor in your building materials, types of windows, insulation, exterior brick, vinyl, and so forth. And also another important factor is orientation. Also internal loads like appliances and people. And so we put that into the program, and it gives us a detailed layout of the exact load requirements, the heating load and the cooling load for the structure.
Great. Now, what other things did you observe? Were there any other systems in this house besides the basement that was oversized? Or were there ample return supplies and registers for the system, or not?
Well, the main level was in pretty good shape along with the upper level. Most of the issues were in the basement with not only the system being oversized, but also the lack of air circulation throughout the space. So we had a lot of isolated areas with no returns, so therefore you couldn't get good airflow. So we're going to solve that by using multiple returns as well as jumper ducts.
Okay.
And jumper ducts are going to allow us basically for them isolated areas to communicate with the main areas.
All right. Now, what does a jumper duct look like, and what does that mean when you say jumper? I mean, is it a duct that jumps or no?
Right. Well, essentially a jumper duct is basically, if you think of a jumper from one area to another.
Okay.
So essentially we're going to have a diffuser in one room, a diffuser say in the hall or a main area that communicates with the return.
Okay.
And that'll be attached with ductwork.
I see.
So when a door is closed in a bedroom, the air will be able to communicate through that jumper duct.
Ah. So that really helps too, for example, when you hear the master bedroom door and it pulls itself closed, that jumper duct helps relieve that, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. What's happening is that room's actually pressurizing. When it becomes pressurized, it can't get the airflow that's required. So again, that jumper duct relieves that pressure and maintains the airflow.
Ah, I bet that helps with the efficiency of the system quite a bit.
Absolutely.
Well, Dan, I really appreciate you and your expertise. We look forward to seeing this system, these 3 systems being put in and the finished product, and I look forward to hearing what the homeowner thinks about and the comfort level. Thanks so much. Appreciate you. Thanks, Dan.
Okay.
You can see the mold on the walls behind me, and this is what happens with improper drainage and also an improperly sized heating and cooling unit that wasn't taking the moisture out of the air. And again, we've got all this mold, and our mold remediation contractor came in and did a test spot right here just to kind of show what it would look like when they start to clean up. And we can't wait to have all this mold off so we can start painting the walls and making it look like it should look. So as you can see, these walls, they had mold all over them, and they've been completely cleaned up. They look great. Our mold remediation contractor came in and took care of that. We've replaced the lights in this room and throughout the basement so we can see what we're looking at. We're very excited to get the painter come in and see these walls finished. So here are the new Trane units. These are the outdoor compressor units. We're very excited because these are going to save this family a lot of money over the years. And what we've done here is we've insulated the attic to improve the energy efficiency of this home. We've blown cellulose insulation, which really is just a recycled paper, and it's got a fire retardant in it. And what this does is it really helps keep the heating and cooling expenses down on this home. We now have, as you can see on the measuring stick, about 16 inches of insulation inside this attic. We've done that in all accessible attic areas throughout the home. Here's the Trane heating unit that's going down in the basement, but this will be heating the first floor. And as you can see here, it's XV95. What does that mean? It's 95% efficiency rating on this unit. And that means that 95% of the heating stays in the house and 5% goes out through this PVC flue pipe. The typical gas furnace has a heating efficiency rating of only 80%. So there's right there, just a great savings for this family on their heating bills every month. And here's the new 80-gallon water heater our friends at All Star Plumbers installed for us. So as you can see behind me, those dormers, those pieces of siding and framing and windows that came up through the roof, they've been reframed to become gable dormers. They have the pitch on the front. Instead of a flat roof coming back down across the front, we've reframed them. One, it matches the style of the dormer on the front of the house, as well as it looks more architecturally appealing. So as you can see, we've installed a new stairwell here on the left side of the house. It was quite dangerous before. Walking down on railroad tie stairway that is very slick. Now we've got this nice pressure treated deck that's just slightly sloped here, steps down, another landing, and more steps. And it's very secure, very stable, well built, and all of this will get stained so it looks like a nice finished product at the end. And you know what? It's a safe place for the homeowners to go up and down.
Vinyl, wood, clad, composite. I'm Frank Pate with Gobble Fight Lumber Company. At Gobble Fight, we replace windows and doors. We don't just have your basic white window.
I cannot tell you how happy we were to be able to see outside our home and look into our backyard. I would highly recommend Gobble Fight because they came out and were able to give me what I was looking for. Everybody was easy to work with, and they're local.
At Gobble Fight, we're celebrating 80 years in the Tennessee Valley. Call us today. We do it right the first time.
At All Star Plumbers, we take pride in providing you with the best quality work. providing state-of-the-art service with the best equipment available to make sure that work is performed correctly the first time, every time. Find out why All-Star Plumbers is recognized by the construction industry as being one of the most highly respected plumbing companies in the area. All-Star Plumbers, professional people doing a professional job. To set up your appointment, call 256-232-1234.
You're way up in the air while I've spent my whole life just a couple inches off the floor. That's why I'm a Kemp's flooring expert. I sell more carpet than anyone else in North Alabama. Like our HGTV home flooring by Shaw, with fresh colors, textures, and styles to brighten your home. No matter what you need on your floor, Kemp's selection and installation is right the first time. Hey, Carpet Annie's got a nose for the best flooring.
Value, tradition, stability. VTS Homes. We know that home buyers seek value and superior craftsmanship to provide a long-term, stable investment for their families now and for their future. As a recipient of the Guild Master with Highest Distinction Award, we are proud to be the area's only builder with a 100% satisfaction rating. To learn more, visit vtshomes.com. VTS Homes, where value meets tradition and stability.
Experience Roofing has just what the name says. Experienced roofers who are ready to take care of all your roofing and shingle needs. Specializing in EPDM rubber and metal roofs, Experience Roofing is fully licensed and insured, repairing and installing roofs in Huntsville, Decatur, and the surrounding areas for over 15 years. For quality craftsmanship and hard-working roofers who know their stuff, choose Experience Roofing, North Alabama's expert roofers. Call today to set up your appointment. 256-828-8004.
Cellpack Services has been a trusted installer in this community for many years. Cellpack can help you save on your heating and cooling energy costs by adding insulation, specializing in cellulose insulation, which helps create a quieter, more comfortable, and more energy-efficient home. Call today for a free estimate. Mention this ad for a $100 off coupon to be used on your next insulation project. Cellpack Services. We're your neighborhood professionals, providing insulation to homes across northern Alabama.
We've accomplished a lot in this episode and while we've worked on this house, but there's still more to be done. So be sure to watch next episode as we continue to do great things for this family and this home. Thanks for watching. Welcome home, Huntsville. To find out more about this episode or VTS Homes, visit us at vtshomes.com. You can also send us an email if you have questions about what we've covered in today's episode at info@vtshomes.com.